Hello and welcome. Once you understand how to operate the basics of ChatGPT, you will be able to overcome a blank screen when you need to produce content or you need to produce elements in your business that would otherwise be difficult to construct from scratch. At the same time, you must realize ChatGPT's limitations. It does generate incorrect information. It also might produce information or lines or content that may be harmful to your brand or harmful in general. It also is limited to the content that was on the internet. Now, as of the recording of this video, ChatGPT is limited to the world and events as of 2021. That could change by the time you are looking at this video. Regardless, there are limitations. And so, in your production of artifacts for your business, you're going to want to focus on accuracy and citation when you can. But ChatGPT will help you to overcome a blank screen. And that is what we will do in this course, is to undertake the writing of a sales presentation of an information product that you have created. Now, this will not take the place of a personal sales letter, nor will it take the place of a professional copywriter. What it will do is to help you if you have a blank screen in front of you. And so we will start undertaking this process in the next video and in this course. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You're going to notice conversations on the left side menu that you had previously with the chatbot. You're also going to notice here at the top that there's a message from ChatGPT that says that they are experiencing high demand. With those two things combined, it is possible that this information that you see saved on the left side menu could be lost. It could be lost due to the high demand. It could be lost due to challenges they may be having on their server. And so you want to make sure that you are saving as you go. And since we are going to use one conversation thread in order to produce a final document, we're going to undertake this process and we're going to use the words final draft whenever we can to indicate that when we want ChatGPT to go back and to get information to produce a final document, we want to produce information from this individual chat with these words as we have written them. So we are writing these words as a signal when we can, and we will do that throughout the production of this document. Now, before we start the process of a sales presentation, we do want to do some background research, and we're actually going to do that with an AI outside of ChatGPT. And we're going to do that with Google Talk to Books. And we will do that in the next video. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in the next video. Welcome back. Now, one background information tool that you may want to use that does not exist inside of ChatGPT is called Google Talk to Books. And if you go to your favorite search engine, you're going to see here that there's a link called Talk to Books from Google Books. And we're going to click on that link. And Talk to Books is a semantic search tool from Google, accessing the words inside of published books on Google Books. So we're going to write in a semantic search term. Once we have our phrase, we are then going to click Go. And what you will have is direct citations from specific books regarding your query. Now, you can go back and redo your query if you don't get the results that you like. What you get with this page also is a filter command. And we can click on filter. And if you have a way of filtering the information, you can do so here in this area. We can view more passages for more books. And again, these are books that we are going to cite directly inside of whatever artifact that we are producing. And in some cases, we may even link back to the book, either with an affiliate link, but definitely with some kind of credit to the author. What this also does is it allows us to verify that what we are stating in our artifact is going to be correct and accurate. So you can use the AI in Google Talk to Books in order to find background information and direct citation information. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, ChatGPT is unable to get statistical information from specific websites. And when we are seeking statistical information, we're going to need to work around the fact that their statistics are typically going to be lagging behind the point at which you are going to be producing the artifact requiring numerical or statistical information. If you are willing to abide by the terms of service and to cite the authors, you can use websites such as Statista. And in some cases, some of the statistical information is available for use in your projects without having a paid account. And depending on your topic, you are going to see a considerable amount of information that you may find useful in your sales presentation. A similar site where you can gain this kind of information as well as to be provided a visual chart is going to be the website marketingcharts.com. And again, depending on your topic, you will be able to find updated information that you can use in your sales presentation along with the visual chart to make the point inside of your content. Now, obviously, there are niche-based statistical tools that you can use to work around ChatGPT's inability to go beyond a certain point in time. So you will want to make sure that you have updated statistics with sites like the two that were mentioned, as well as similar sites. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. One of the things that we can do in doing a sales presentation is we can ask ChatGPT what the best frameworks are for writing sales letters. And so we're going to do that right now. And we're going to ask a specific question, and we're going to ask the chatbot to list 10 frameworks. And once we have our information in, we're then going to click enter. Once you have your frameworks, one of the things that you can do based on the information that you already have in your conversation with ChatGPT is to ask the chatbot to use it as a context. And so that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to ask the chatbot to use one of the frameworks to write a specific sales presentation. And we're now going to click enter. And we're going to allow ChatGPT to do its work with the framework we've asked it to use for the above sales presentation. So once the process is complete, you're going to go through each framework and you're going to determine which of the frameworks you like best in order to work with. Now, in order to go forward, once we've chosen a framework, we're going to work with that framework in detail. Now, for some elements of a sales presentation, we're actually going to use other frameworks, and now that we have them listed in this conversation, we will then be able to use them. Now, we're not yet ready to start creating for a final draft. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to move to the next step of adding in personalized and background information. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, one of the ways we can personalize or give life to the sales presentation that we're going to be using is to add images. And we can add appropriate images as we see fit according to the context we're going to be communicating in. One of the other things that we can do with ChatGPT is we can ask the chatbot what kind of images would be appropriate for this particular sales presentation. And we're going to do that right now. We're going to ask ChatGPT to tell us what kind of images would complement this sales presentation. And so we're going to ask a plain language question, and we're now going to click enter. Now that we have ideas on what we're going to add as images, and we have a specific number, we're now going to go back to ChatGPT and we're going to ask it to give us prompts to place inside of an image creator. And so we're going to write the first query, knowing that we may need to rewrite the query until we get what it is that we want. So we're going to ask the chatbot to give us the prompt in order to create the images. We're now going to click enter. Now what we're going to do with these prompts is we're going to take them and we're going to go to an image creator in order to create each of the images. And these are going to be the images that we will consider using in our sales presentation when we do the final layout after we get all of the content from ChatGPT. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now looking at canva.com, and we're going to work within canva.com in order to create the images that we have had suggested to us by ChatGPT. What you'll do first is to create a custom size image. You'll typically create a square image. You'll then create a new design. What you'll then do is to go to your apps area and you're going to choose the text to image application. You're going to see it here on our left side panel, but you can choose it here from the new apps. What you're then going to do is you're going to place in the text from ChatGPT. We're going to select one of the image prompts. Once we have our prompt, we're going to select photo. We're going to then generate the image. And we can select an image that we want, we can add it, and typically what we can do here is we can then set the image as the background. What we can then do inside of Canva is we can download the image. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click download. And we're going to download the image as a PNG file. And we have now created an appropriate image to use in our sales presentation. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, in a sales presentation, you are typically going to want to have specific headlines. And the best headlines you can use at the top of your sales presentation, and you can use those that are not quite as good as sub-headlines throughout your presentation. And so what you're going to want to do is to ask ChatGPT to give you headlines to use in your presentation. And so we're going to ask ChatGPT to write 5 headlines. We're going to give the chatbot context. So we're now going to give ChatGPT some specific parameters, and we're now going to click enter. Now obviously we returned an error, so what we did was we pushed the F5 button to refresh our page, and we're going to give ChatGPT another prompt to give us more information. So we are going to alter the text slightly, and we're going to click enter. And we're now going to get our information. Now the machine did not quite understand our query, so what we're going to do is we're going to ask for 5 specific headlines. And we're now going to hit enter. So now what we're going to do is we're going to ask ChatGPT to rewrite our sales letter and to use our headlines and our subheadlines. And we're going to give ChatGPT a suggestion. And so what we're going to now do is we're going to now ask the chatbot to write in a different voice for the final draft. And we're now going to click enter. And we now have our next draft. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to use ChatGPT in order to help us to write a script for our thank you page. So we're going to include some additional elements, and we're going to include the elements that we want the chatbot to consider. Now once again, we are looking for information that we can use in order to help us with a blank page. We may or may not use all of the information that ChatGPT gives us, but we expect to be off to a good start with the information. So we are going to give the chatbot a prompt. As is the case with anything you want ChatGPT to do, the more information that you give it, the better the output it will give back to you. But again, we are using all of the information that we have created inside of this conversation in order to help the chatbot with this process. So now that we have written out our instructions, we are now going to click enter. Now again, we may or may not like the full text that we receive back from the chatbot. Now in this case, we're going to ask the chatbot to rewrite this thank you page message, and we're going to make a change to it. So we've now added in some additional verbiage. We're now going to click enter. Now it's at this point that we may need to take the text as we have it, as our query isn't fully clear to the chatbot exactly what we want. So we will work with the first draft of the thank you page and make the adjustment ourselves. But basically, you can give the chatbot instructions so that you can have information to keep you from having a blank page, and you can make any necessary adjustments according to your context. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Just as you did for sales letters, it's a good idea to consider what are the best frameworks for writing sales emails to your customers. And so we're going to ask ChatGPT that very same question. It's likely that you'll get the same information that you got for the sales letters. However, there may be different information that it can find when it scrapes the internet. So again, we're going to give as specific a prompt as we can give it. We're then going to click enter. In this case, you'll notice that the information that we received is going to be slightly different from the information that we received in terms of a framework for a sales letter. And so based on this fact, we may choose one of the unique elements that we receive from ChatGPT in order to write our customer sales email. And so we are going to take one of the frameworks, and we're going to give the chatbot some additional information about writing the email, and we are now going to click enter. Now, in this case, the framework did not seem to help the chatbot to write a sufficient email. So in this case, we're just going to ask the chatbot to write an email selling the product. And this time, we're going to instruct the chatbot not to mention the price. We're now going to click enter. And in this case, we were able to get better output. And so we have something to work with in terms of our initial email to our customers. What you can do with the context that you have, as long as you continue to keep a conversation about the same project, you will then be able to use all of the previous information in order to give you content starters for specific pieces of content. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We're going to take all of the same context that we have generated within this one conversation in order to generate a content starter for a message to affiliate marketers to promote the product that is now being released. And so we're going to give the chatbot some context, and we're going to ask it to write an email to our existing affiliates. So now to undertake this, we're going to make sure to give the chatbot as much context as we possibly can. Once we do that, we're going to click enter, and what we're looking to get is a content starter, even if we choose not to use the entire email written to us by ChatGPT. We're now going to click enter. And we have been given an error message, so what we're going to do is we're going to copy this information, and we're going to hit the F5 button. And we're going to come back, and we're going to try to repaste the same information. And we're going to hit enter to see if our query is going to be answered. So what you'll see is that you have a good content starter with good sales messaging that you can massage for your individual use to send to your affiliates. And that ChatGPT uses the context that we have created in the entire conversation. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are going to use the entire context we have created in order to write a sales video script. Now in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure to give the chatbot enough context to write the script for the sales video exactly the way we want it. What we're going to do is to produce a PowerPoint style sales script of about 2 minutes. And so to do that, we're going to give the chatbot a prompt, and we're going to write the information in here. Once we've written in our detailed prompt, we're now going to click enter. Now we're going to ask ChatGPT to rewrite the script. We're going to ask the chatbot in order to write it in bullet point fashion, and we're going to ask the chatbot to write it for a longer period of time. So we're going to work within the context, and we're going to ask ChatGPT in order to rewrite the script, and we're going to write it for a little longer with this prompt. We're now going to click enter. Now you'll notice that the script is probably not 5 minutes long, and we might have to enter our own information in order to make it, but we do have a content starter. We have the information in all bullet points so that we can place it on our PowerPoint presentation, and we are now ready to begin writing our script for our sales video. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, if you are a user of PowerPoint, there are AI aspects that you can use in order to increase the effectiveness of your presentation when you begin to record your sales video. If you look inside of the slideshow tab, you're going to see an element here called Rehearse with Coach. You're going to click that link. And basically, this is going to allow you to rehearse your presentation. And you're going to see down on the right side area here, there's going to be an area here where you can start rehearsing. And basically, when you click this button, you are going to narrate your presentation the way that you're actually going to do it so that you can get feedback from PowerPoint telling you areas where you can improve. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click Start Rehearsing, and we're going to narrate our presentation. Hey there, my name is Thomas Duncan, and I'm here to tell you that if you're tired of struggling to stand out on Facebook, then you're in the right place. I know what it's like. You're working hard, but you're not seeing the results you want. You're scrolling through your Facebook feed, and you're thinking, why can't my business be more like that? Now I know you're busy, and you don't have time for a course that takes forever to finish. That's why this course is easy to follow. and you can implement strategies right away. That's not all, you'll also have access to instant support from me throughout and one-on-one help to ensure that you get the most out of the course. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to stop the presentation, and PowerPoint is going to give us an analysis of our presentation. And if we want, we can click rehearse again and we can rehearse the presentation again. So basically, we're going to use the AI to give us suggestions on what we can do to increase the effectiveness of what it is that we are narrating. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, PowerPoint has two additional AI elements to its operation. One you'll find within the Review tab, and you're going to see it here that you can check accessibility to make sure that if you're going to be giving your presentation to someone in order to read, that it is accessible to individuals that have accessibility issues. You can click here to check to make sure that there are no issues, and this means that your presentation is likely to be compliant with accessibility principles. Now, the other AI element that you have available to you is in the Home tab, and you're going to see it here in the right side, and you can open up what's called the Designer. And that's going to open up the panel on the right side. And basically, you're going to have an AI to give you suggestions on ways that you can put your slide together. And you're going to have several choices for each slide. And basically, you can choose one element for each slide. And each slide can be individually designed. So basically, what you have available to you is that the AI will select different elements for you to determine how you want your slide presentation to look for any occasion that you will be using it for. Now, most cases, a sales presentation will require just a plain background, but you may want to vary it depending on the context that you will be selling your product. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to use the entire existing context in order to write a welcome email for the customers that purchase the product. We're going to give ChatGPT a prompt in order to undertake this task. Now, this first email, we are going to give ChatGPT some instructions. And we're going to tell the chatbot that this email is for one of the first 10 buyers, which we have designated in a previous context that these individuals will receive a one-on-one consultation. And so now that we have all of our information in, we're now going to click Enter. And ChatGPT successfully wrote the email that is a welcome email to one of the first 10 buyers. We are now going to ask the chatbot to write another email for those that purchase after the 10th buyer. So we're going to give ChatGPT another command. We're now going to click Enter. And ChatGPT successfully left out the information for those that came after the 10th purchase. So we can set this up inside of our autoresponder system to make sure that the right people get the right message. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to suggest a layout for the appearance of our sales letter. And in order to do that, we're going to give ChatGPT some instructions in order to create the layout. We're going to write in our instructions. So what we've done is we are going to give ChatGPT some additional instructions. We want the chatbot to give us a layout. We want it to include the images that we have mentioned in this conversation. We want it to position the sales video that we've mentioned in this conversation. And we also want to suggest an element that has not been mentioned in this conversation, which is the buy button or calls to action. Now that we have given the chatbot proper instructions, we're now going to click Enter. What we're now going to do is we're going to attempt to get ChatGPT to rewrite the last sales letter in the context that it has just given us for the layout. So rather than ask the chatbot to remember, we're just going to cut and paste that same sales letter. We're going to ask it to suggest the same layout, but with the sales letter it's already created. We're now going to click Enter. So basically what ChatGPT has done is it has given us a suggested layout. Now obviously we are going to have to make adjustments based on our own experience and what we think we need to do in order to sell to our customer. For example, the sales video is suggested near the end of the actual sales letter. Typically, the sales letter is going to be closer to the beginning or sometimes at the very top. But you do have a starting point to begin your sales letter, and you have a suggestion on how it should be laid out and in the order in which the content should be placed, including the images. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now that we have a proper layout for our sales page, one extra step that we can use ChatGPT in order to help us with are the colors for our sales page. Now, we may or may not get solid information, but we may get suggestions on the background color. We may be able to get suggestions on the color of our headlines. We may be able to get suggestions for the color of our subheadlines, as well as our text. And so because of that, we're going to go ahead and ask ChatGPT for these suggestions. The first suggestions we're going to ask for is a background color. Now, once again, we are talking to a machine, and we are talking to a machine that has now context that we have been giving it in one conversation about one subject. So now we're going to ask for a specific aspect of the layout. And so we are going to give it this prompt. We're now going to click Enter. And ChatGPT gives us a suggested background color, which we can test to determine if that's what we want to do. What we now want to do is we want to ask ChatGPT for a suggested color for our headline as well as for our subheadlines. And so we are going to give ChatGPT a simple command, and we're now going to click Enter. And so we have suggestions for the background color, we have suggestions for our headline, and finally, we want to have suggestions for the text of the actual letter. So we're going to write one more prompt to ask for that information. And we're now going to click Enter. Now, more than likely, what we should have done with the prompt in suggesting colors for the main headline or subheadlines is we should have specified that we wanted that information for the sales letter in the above layout. Again, we are talking to a machine, and in some cases, the machine may not know the full context, even though we are still operating in one conversation within ChatGPT. So just for good measure, we are going to ask the question again, suggest colors separately for the main headline and subheadlines for the above layout. Now that we have our request, we are now going to click Enter. And what we have proven with this response that ChatGPT has given us is it actually did understand the context that we had given it when we asked for this information right above. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, depending on where you live in the world, you can ask ChatGPT to give you information on writing earnings disclaimers and essential pages. If you have a WordPress website, you can typically get these elements inside of certain plugins. However, if you choose not to operate using WordPress, you will want to have some kind of terms of service statement as well as an earnings disclosure, specifically when you're talking about a business-related product. What we're going to do is assume that the business selling this product exists within the United States and that we need to write an earnings disclaimer for this particular business and this particular product that we are selling. And we have our prompt. We are now going to click Enter. Now, anything that you get from ChatGPT should not be used in the place of legal advice. And so if you want to use this as a starting point, you still want to make sure that you are legally in compliance with laws in your country, in your region, and in your local area. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are going to use the context we have created in order to write an opt-in page. And basically, what we're going to do is we're going to give individuals information from one of the modules. Now we're going to ask ChatGPT to write the copy for our opt-in page. So what we're going to do is we're going to paste in what the individuals are going to learn in the lead magnet. We're going to paste that into the dialog box. And then we're going to give the rest of the prompt and instructions to ChatGPT. So we have written in our prompt, and we have given the outline for the content in the lead magnet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hit Enter. and ChatGPT is going to give us some output. So you can use the entire context that you have created inside of the project in order to create an opt-in page, and that's what we have done. Now, we don't have to use all of the content for this opt-in page. However, we are off to a good start with the content that ChatGPT has given us. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. In conclusion, it's important to note that all of the assets that we have created in this course, we have created primarily with one ChatGPT conversation. And you'll see it here marked at the bottom on our left side menu. What we've done is we've leveraged this in getting responses with ChatGPT to complete our entire project. We are now going to complete this project by writing an opt-in email for individuals that have received the free report, and then to remind them that there is a product that they can purchase that will help them beyond the scope of the lead magnet. We are going to give ChatGPT the prompt in order to do it. So we are going to give several elements to the prompt. And we're going to bring those elements in. And basically, now that we have the elements of our prompt, we are now going to click Enter so that we can get our opt-in email. Now, one of the things you'll note about the opt-in email is that the chatbot remembered our support link. We didn't have to tell it what that support link is. And that has everything to do with us using the context that we have created inside of one conversation. And so if you're going to be working with a specific project, it's a good idea to try to do all of that project inside of one conversation. At the same time, though, you want to make sure that you're saving everything that you do, since there is the possibility that ChatGPT could lose that information. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I'll see you either in another video, in another update, or another course.